Welcome on Gam channel. Please subscribe, like, share and comment to get more videos. So today you're going to know more about personalities of Egypt, those who contributed to its development politically, socially and economically to make it the Egypt that we know today. Tutankhamun, also referred to as King Tut, was born in 1341 BC and died in 1323 BC. Was an Egyptian pharaoh. Having ruled over the new kingdom of Egypt, he was the last of his royal family to exercise governance during the 18th dynasty, with his reign lasting from 1332 BC until 1323 BC in the conventional Egyptian chronology. Tutankhamun's fame is primarily the result of his well-preserved tomb and the global exhibition of his associated artifacts. The discoveries in the tomb were prominent news in the 1920s. Tutankhamun came to be called by a modern neologism, King Tut. King Tut became the name of products and businesses. Thutmose III, born 1481 BC and died in 1425 BC. Thutmose was the heir of the 18th dynasty of Egypt and the stepson of the previous pharaoh Hatshepsut. Being the only son of the king Thutmose II, he was supposed to take over the throne after his death, but he was only 2 years old at the time, so his stepmother Hatshepsut ascended the throne while he became her co-regent. His reign lasted 54 years and he died at the early age of 56. But his contribution to Egyptian civilization is still considered as one of the greatest, widely known as the Napoleon of Egypt. Thutmose had a wide list of accomplishments and military achievements. The expansion of the Egyptian kingdom under his reign was notable. Thutmose was also considered a great warrior who fought many enemies to protect Egypt and its people. Hatshepsut, born in 1507 and died 1458 BC. Hatshepsut bags the title of the most successful female pharaoh to ascend the throne of Egypt. The fifth ruler of the 18th dynasty of Egypt, Hatshepsut reigned between 1478 BC and 1458 BC. As the wife, Hatshepsut not only shared the royal bloodline but also inherited the art of ruling from her royal family. Although the status of a woman in ancient Egypt was high, female pharaohs were rare. It is believed that King Thutmose I wanted his daughter to inherit the throne. After her husband's death, Hatshepsut took over the throne and reigned for 21 years. She accomplished a lot more than many other pharaohs could have done during their reign. From initiating countless construction projects to establishing routes for foreign trade, everything was accomplished smoothly and the people enjoyed peace in her government. Ramesses II, born 1303 BC and died in 1213 BC. Ramesses II was the third pharaoh of the 19th dynasty and one of the greatest pharaohs of the new kingdom of Egypt. Egyptians often call him the great ancestor. Ramesses is said to have had a victorious military career that highly benefited the kingdom. He led several military expeditions and conquered many enemies like the Hittites, Syrians and Nubians. It is believed that no pharaoh has ever surpassed his architecture triumphs. He built an extensive amount of monuments spread all over Egypt that are now a proud part of Egyptian heritage. He died at the age of 90 and was buried in the Valley of the Kings. Gamal Abdel Nasser Hussein, born 15th January 1918 and died 28th September 1970, was an Egyptian politician who served as the second president of Egypt from 1954 until his death in 1970. Nasser led the Egyptian Revolution of the 1952 and introduced far-reaching land reforms the following year. Following a 1954 attempt on his life by a Muslim Brotherhood member, he cracked down on the organization, put President Mohamed Naguib and house arrest and assumed executive office. He was formally elected president in June 1956. Nasser made Egypt fully independent of British influence, and the country became a major power in the developing world under his leadership. One of Nasser's main domestic efforts was to establish social justice, which he deemed a prerequisite to liberal democracy. During his presidency, ordinary citizens enjoyed unprecedented access to housing, education, jobs, health services, and nourishment, as well as other forms of social wealth, while feudalistic influence waned. Until the present day, Nasser serves as an iconic figure throughout the Arab world, a symbol of Arab unity and dignity, and a towering figure in the modern Middle Eastern history. He is also also considered a champion of social justice in Egypt. Muhammad al-Pasha, also known as Muhammad al of Egypt and Sudan, born 4th March 1769 and died 2nd August 1849, was the Albanian Ottoman governor and de facto ruler of Egypt from 1805 to 1848. Considered the founder of modern Egypt, at the height of his ruler, he controlled all of Egypt, Sudan, Hejaz, and the Levant. Others, however, view him not as a builder, but rather as a conqueror. He was of Albanian origin rather than Egyptian. And throughout his reign, Ottoman Turkish was the official language of his court rather than Arabic. Some argue that he exploited Egyptian manpower and resources for his own personal aims, not Egyptian national ones, with the manpower requirements that he placed on Egyptians being particularly onerous. Taken together in this light, Muhammad al is cast by some of another in a long line of foreign conquerors dating back to the Persian occupation in 525 BC. This view, however, is at odds with the majority opinion of Egyptian and other Arab historians and Egyptian public opinion. Muhammad Anwar el-Sadat, born 25th December 1918 and died 6th October 1981, was an Egyptian politician and military officer who served as the third president of Egypt from 15 October 1970 until his assassination by fundamentalist army officers on 6th October 1981. Sadat was a senior member of the Free Officers who overthrew King Farouk in the Egyptian Revolution in 1952 and a close confidant President Gamal Abdel Nasser, under who he served as vice president, twice, and whom he succeeded as president. In 1978, Sadat and Menachem Begin, Prime Minister of Israel, signed a peace treaty in cooperation with the United States President Jimmy Carter, for which they were recognized with the Nobel Peace Prize. Mohamed Morsi, born 8th August 1951 and died 17th June 2019, was an Egyptian politician, engineer, and professor who served as the 5th president of Egypt from 30 June 2012 to 3rd July 2013, when General Abdel Fattah el-Sisi removed him from office in a coup d'etat after protests in June, an Islamist affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood organization. Morsi led the Freedom and Justice Party from 2011 to 2012. Morsi's first major foreign policy success came in November 2012 when he garnered international praise for helping to broker a ceasefire in the week-long conflict between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Coming to power, he received appreciation for his initial efforts towards creating a better economy. Maya Morsi, a devoted defender of women's rights across the Arab and Muslim world. Maya Morsi has been working to further the cause of gender equality in Egypt and across the region since the late 1990s. In 2016, she became the youngest person to ever be elected president of the National Council of Women, before which she served as the regional advisor of gender policies and programs at the United Nations Development Programs in the Arab states in Cairo. Throughout her career as a public servant and women's rights advocate, Morsi also served as the head of the United Nations Fund for Women in Egypt. In 1998, she worked with Egypt's Ministry of Education on educational projects and initiatives designed to empower female students. Under her leadership, the NCW took a more active role in public life. In addition to the Council's advisory and policy development and planning role, Morsi's NCW cemented its image as one of the country's few feminist strongholds by publicly weighing in cultural issues and biased portrayal of women in the Egyptian media. Amri Musa, one of Egypt's most accomplished diplomats, Amri Musa is a decorated veteran of international affairs who helped shape the country's foreign policy in the latter half of the 20th century. He is considered one of the most noted diplomats from the golden age of Egyptian diplomacy, along figures like the late UN Secretary General Boutros Ghali. He was appointed Egypt's ambassador to the UN, after which he served as foreign minister from 1991 up to 2001. He went on to take the reins served as Secretary General in the Arab League, where he worked to redefine and unify Arab diplomacy before stepping down in 2011. During his career as diplomat, Musa advocated for a big African role in the UN and called for structural reform within the organization. He has also been a strong critic of the Israeli occupation and the Gaza blockade and supporter of Palestinian statehood and independence. As Arab League Secretary General, he spoke in defense of the Arab Spring, and in 2012, he emerged as a centrist political figure who could potentially unite Egyptians. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment. I know there are many historical figures of Egypt, but on our list we had only 10, but you can add others in the comment section. Thank you.